Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today I am going to give you an overview about the identification of the amines, how they could be identified using diazotization test in the lab. Whenever we give you any sort of an unknown compound and ask you to identify what sort of the amine is it really, so you need to perform diazotization test. This test is for the identification purposes, and the same procedure could also be adopted by the color chemistry students for the preparation of azo dyes, as the reaction involves the formation of diazonium ions, diazonium salts, which subsequently couples with some coupler to give you some colorants, so signifying the presence of any aromatic amines. Is the same product which are colorant dye molecules at the end could be used as dye preparation, dye products for the by the color chemistry students. So the I would start with, this is identification of amines by diazotization test. This could also be used as preparation of model azo dyes for color chemistry students. As I've explained, I've told you in my previous lecture, aromatic amines they do react with NaNO2, sodium nitrite, and HCl. The temperature is supposed to be 0 to 5 degree. Correspondingly, we receive sort of diazonium salts. What we do, we bring in some sort of aromatic compounds having any sort of substituent at any and benzene, and it undergoes coupling on aromatic component, aromatic ring, depending upon the nature of the substituent, whether it is ortho-para directing or it's a meta director. So whatever is the nature of this compound, one will get the corresponding product. This product is supposed to be some sort of a colorant, and the formation of colors, the generation of colors in the flask represents the given compound was an amine. If the students get color in as a reaction product, that represents the starting compound was an amine, which would have undergone a diazotization, then further it would have coupled with some sort of a coupler, which we would have introduced into it. So as a result of the coupling, a colorant would have produced. So presence or appearance of a color in the flask represents the starting compound was a sort of an amine. So it's a sort of an identification of an amines using diazotization test, or as the reaction, this identification test is a sort of a diazotization reaction results in the formation of a colorant, azo dye. So it can also be used as a preparation of model dyes for the color chemistry students. Why we need to perform diazotization? Let me go a bit back uh, to give you a recap of the previous lecture, where I started off from the litmus solution test. Litmus solution test, and there we came to know that litmus solution test confirms whether the given unknown compound is acidic in nature or it is basic in nature, or it could be neutral. The given unknown compound for the students could be of acidic in nature, basic in nature, and neutral in nature. In acid category, we told you it could be either phenol or it could be carboxylic acid. Two possibilities only at your level. Then in case of basics, we told you the given compound could be an amine. In case of neutrals, the given compound could be a carbonyl, compound, aldehyde ketones, or it could be a carbohydrate. So this is how we proceeded in the introductory lecture about the identification of organic compounds in the lab using wet chemistry, wet lab analysis. So once you started off with litmus solution, you came to know that your compound is basic in nature and that is supposed to be amine. Then we further discussed that it could be confirmed using diazotization test, or it could be confirmed by carbyl amine test, or test number 3, it could be confirmed by Hinsberg test. So 3 types of tests are available. 3 types of tests could be performed for the identification of amines. Number 1, it could be diazotization test, it could be a carbyl amine test, it could be a Hinsberg test. All of these tests, I'm going to explain the diazotization test that could be used for the identification of the given unknown amines. So this is the background why we are going to look into the identification of amines by diazotization test. So once you perform litmus solution, it confirms the given compound is supposed to be an amine, then you need to perform diazotization tests. So once your compound is any sort of an amine, what we do, as I've just explained, we put in NaNO2 and HCl. We keep the temperature 0 to 5 degree. After the reaction of these bodies, we receive a diazonium salt in this fashion. It's a diazonium diazonium salt due to the presence of this chloride that comes from the HCl. Then, as just explained, we need some sort of coupler, usually an aromatic compound, aromatic ring. The presence of benzene is required for the coupling of this electrophile on benzene under electrophilic substitution reaction. Let's say we have used sort of a phenol over here, so this electrophile could react on the aromatic ring at earth and para positions, giving us the corresponding products. So we will have this sort of product, this azo group in presence in conjugation with the aromatic compounds will generate an orange color dye, an orange color, I think its color is supposed to be sort of a yellow color. I think it's a yellow, it's a yellow color dye that is supposed to be appear in the flask. The appearance of the yellow color confirms the starting compound carries an amine. If the amine was there, that would have undergone diazotization, then subsequently it would have undergone a sort of a coupling with any coupler under the electrophilic substitution mechanism, as I've explained in my last lecture. That is the preparation of diazonium salts, chemistry of diazonium salt, a mechanistic aspect. A separate lecture has been delivered on the mechanism how this body is converted into this one. This step has very much been explained in that lecture, so I request you guys to visit that lecture as well. The preparation of diazonium ions, the preparation of diazonium salts, a mechanistic insight, So once it has been generated, it couples with this and this to produce this one. So it's just sort of a theoretical aspect. So now I'm giving you an example which we actually ask students to perform in the laboratory to identify the amines using diazotization test, Some model diazotization test. What we do, we ask student to use aniline. We take 4.5 ml of aniline and we ask to take HCl, the concentrated one, around 10 ml. Let's say we ask students to put aniline first into the beaker, and then we add in, number one is aniline, then the number two we add in HCl, and then we put this beaker in ice jacket. We put this in another beaker which carries ice, because we want to keep the temperature. That is very important. The temperature is supposed to be 0 to 5 degree, less than 5 degree the temperature is supposed to be. So we put this in the ice jacket, let it stir for a while. Then as a number 3 we put in water, 10 ml of water, that is number 3, and we let it stir for at least, put it on stirring 5 to 10 minutes till the temperature is supposed to be less than 5 degree. Once your temperature is less than 5 degree, then we take sodium nitrite NaNO2, we weigh out like 7 grams of it, and we dissolve it 10 ml of water, and then what we do, we prepare the solution, that is, I cannot the other way. We have NaNO2 and we have dissolved it in water, and we also put it in another jacket, ice jacket. We cool it down as well. NaNO2 and water, its solution has been prepared, and we put it in the jacket, and we stir it as well to homogenize the solution. Then once this reaction mixture has achieved its temperature is below 5 degree, we put this mixture, the mixture of a solution of sodium nitrite in water, we put that in as number 4 into the beaker, and this is the addition very much required for the diazotization. So at this moment of time, as soon as we introduce NaNO2, it reacts with HCl and in situ it generates NO2 positive, which goes further for reaction, for with amines, and subsequently diazotization happens inside the beaker. We see the formation of diazonium salt in the beaker when its color turns to yellowish brown color in the beaker. In this beaker, the aniline was present. It undergoes reaction with HCl and NO2, sodium nitrite. As a result, the diazonium salt will be produced. The formation of diazonium salt will be confirmed by the appearance of yellowish brown color of the thick paste. That is, this salt is a sort of a thick paste which is of yellowish brown color, inside the beaker over here. So we have produced diazonium salt. One thing should be kept in mind, initially the aniline, that is a sort of a violet color. The starting material is of a violet color, the aniline which we put in the beaker right in the beginning. After the diazotization, the product is of yellowish brown color. The change in color from violet to yellowish brown suggests something has happened in the beaker, mean the diazotization has been performed on the aniline's amine group, So this is the product. So now the diazonium salt has been generated inside the beaker. We need some sort of a coupler to couple this produced diazonium ion with these aromatic rings under the electrophilic substitution. What we ask you to use, let's say we ask you to use 2-naphthol. You use it 7 grams. Also dissolve it in 10% sodium hydroxide solution. What we do, we put in 2-naphthol and then 10% sodium hydroxide in the beaker. We prepare a solution. Again we put it in another ice jacket. It's an ice jacket again, just to reduce the temperature, supposed to be around 5 degree, less than 5 degree, something like that. So then as the temperature is about or near the 5 degree, we take this solution and then we mix this solution, solution of 2-naphthol into this beaker where diazotization has already been performed. We mix 2-naphthol, solution of 2-naphthol in 10% sodium oxide. We put that also into the same beaker where diazotization has already been done. So what will happen? This 2-naphthol will act as a coupler. To couple with this diazonium salt. As a result, what will happen? There will be electrophilic substitution reaction on 2-naphthol, one of the benzene ring of the naphthol. I will show you the structure of the product. As a result, there will be a coupling and azo dye will be generated. the azo dye formation will be confirmed by the appearance of, let's say, orange dye. Orange color dye will appear in the beaker over here, in this beaker, where the diazotized aniline, the diazonium salt of aniline coupled with 2-naphthol, the orange color will appear. You see, the brownish color of the diazonium salt will change into orange dye, suggesting that this electrophile has reacted further with 2-naphthol under electrophilic reactions of benzenes. Consequently, a color product has appeared which confirms that there has been an azo bond formation has had happened inside the flask, inside the beaker. How it will look like on the board, the product is supposed to look like. Let me start from the beginning. We took aniline, we dissolved it in HCl, put it in NO2 solution in water. We kept the temperature 0 to 5 degree, and then we received this sort of diazonium salt. Then we bring in 2-naphthol. 2-naphthol is something like that. So once you put this one in, we put this 2-naphthol solution of this body in 10% sodium hydroxide. So they reacted with each other. What has happened over there? So we will have yes, I can use this way. So this is supposed to be the product. Beta-naphthols, this carbon, the orthocarbon, has undergone an electrophilic substitution, giving us this sort of a product. As this body was dissolved in sodium hydroxide, it's a base. This body is supposed to be some sort of an acid, so acid-base reaction actually gives us sodium salt. As I've told you, the organic colorants, orange dye, orange color, when it has become a salt, then it is supposed to call a dye. Due to the presence of this dye azo group, this is called an azo dye. So this is the basic concept behind the identification of the amines. You can use those amines for diazotization and then further coupling with certain other aromatic compounds. If the coupling happens there, some sort of color will appear. The appearance of colors will suggest the formation of an azo group. It would have generated from diazonium ions, and diazonium ions are always produced from the primary amines. So this is how one can confirm if a product is formed, a colorant product in the beaker at the last. It means the starting compound was some sort of primary amines. So this is one of the example where this is how one can establish the starting compound, which was sort of a base suggested by the litmus solution. Now it has been confirmed by the diazotization test that the given compound was some sort of an amine. In this very specific lab activity, I have used aniline, beta-naphthol. One could use something else as well. People try more than one coupler. You can move this way, or you can bring in any other coupler. People use simply phenols as well. Once you have performed the diazotization, let's say we put in aniline, we put in HCl, we put in water, we reduce the temperature from 0 to 5 degree in the beaker, we along with constant stirring. We prepared NaNO2 solution in simple water and then put that in the ice jacket as well to reduce its temperature. Then we mix into the solution of aniline as a result of reaction between NaNO2 and HCl. Then there will be a generation of an electrophile which subsequently reacts with amines to give diazonium salts. Then the next coupler, as I've just explained, beta naphthol was brought in. One can bring any other coupler. Let's say people can try phenols only. As I've just explained in theoretical concepts as well. So phenol orthopara director. So phenol will give us as well an azo product of the aniline, so this will be the colorant. As we have an idea, the presence of sodium will convert it into a salt, and a colorant salt, a yellow colored, yellow azo color will become a yellow azo dye. It's a yellow in color, So as we change the coupler, the presence of azo group in conjugation with other aromatic, single aromatic benzene having donating group or withdrawing group or some sort of, like naphthols, alpha, beta naphthol, so they could produce different colors. So the presence of substituents or the number of rings in the coupler, they could change the colors, the formation of dyes. So you can produce more than one dyes. Those will be the azo dyes just by changing the coupler, One could also try, let's say, as we bring in the solution of 2-naphthol, beta naphthol, people could bring in the solution of, let's say, benzoic acid. We have an idea, it's a sort of a body which has a withdrawing group, so it will act as a meta director. So one can produce an azo dye having an azo substituent on the meta position, Again, it will be converted into salt, so it will be a dye. So this is how diazotization test basically converts amines into diazonium salts, which further reacts or couples with aromatic rings under electrophilic substitutions and gives colored products. Those colored salts become azo dyes. So this is a procedure which is applicable for the identification of amines under the heading of diazotization test, or one could follow the same procedure for the preparation of azo dyes in the lab as model preparations and model synthesis of azo dyes. So in all aspects, the procedures is supposed to be remain the same. What is very much important in this procedure, the temperature should be controlled. It should be less than 5 degrees, from 0 to 5, most importantly, because with the rise of the temperature, the diazonium salt will lose its ability to undergo coupling with the aromatic ring. Why it happens so? I can give you just an example. I will explain this thoroughly in a separate lecture. Let's say we have a diazonium salt, then nitrogen have this one as a positive charge. If the temperature raises above 5 degree, let's say it reaches 10-12 degree, then this nitrogen bonded with the other moves out in the form of nitrogen gas. It evolves from the reaction mixture leaving benzene with positive charge over here. It takes away the electrons from here in the form of nitrogen gas that evolves from the mixture beaker, leaving behind benzene as with positive charge, as no more electrophilic nitrogen is available once the temperature reaches 5 degree. Subsequently, there won't be any coupling between the diazonium and the other couple, because there is no more diazonium ion is there available, because with the rise of the temperature it has got some energy to withdraw the electron, and then it evolves from the beaker in the form of N2 nitrogen gas, leaving benzene with a positive charge that could react with somebody having a negative charge. That is subject of another lecture where I will explain the use of diazonium ions, the diazotization salts for benzenes to react with the nucleophiles as well. That will be the subject of another lecture. At the moment you need to keep the temperature from 0 to 5 degrees, so there should not be an evolution of nitrogen that will ensure the controlling of the temperature will ensure the diazonium ions are still present in the beaker and they are ready for coupling with any other aromatic benzene, any aromatic ring, from any other compound. So this is how the diazotization is supposed to be. Diazotization is always performed at temperature that is less than 5 degree, but is supposed to be so. I've explained to you. So basically what is the purpose of today's lecture is, once in the lab you students are asked to identify the compounds, unknown given compound. Once you start with the litmus solution test confirm the given compound is some sort of a basic in nature, some sort of a base, organic compound, organic base. What comes into your mind instantly is the given compound is supposed to be an amine. Then how that amine further could be confirmed, I have just told you. The diazotization test is available to confirm the presence of amines. Why? We have an idea. Amines do react with sodium nitrate and HCl to produce diazonium salts, and those diazonium salts are in fact electrophiles in nature, and they have the ability to couple with other aromatic compounds, other aromatics, resulting in the formation of an azo compounds, azo salts, colorant salts. Those will become the dyes. So this is how, if the colorant color appears in the beaker at the end, mean the starting was an amine. If there is no color appears in the beaker, it means the starting compound was not an amine, or at least that was not a primary amine. So this is how. The same procedure could be adopted by the students of the color chemistry who wants to prepare an azo dye in the lab. So they could start from any sort of an aromatic amine, just like an aniline, and they could use the same procedure, same amounts. At the end they could use 2-3 different couplers like benzoic acid, phenol, alpha naphthol, beta naphthol. As you change the coupler, you will receive a different color in the beaker, because the aromatic rings having withdrawing groups or donating groups, single ring, double ring, they all influence the appearance of color, the generation of colors. The presence of an azo group in conjugation with aromatics pi electrons, that generates colors. So this is the background idea, this is the chemistry, this is the procedure which I have explained to you. So this is all from my side about the chemistry of the diazotization test. If you have any idea, if you have any problem, if you have any question in your mind, please don't hesitate to ask me. You may approach via email or you may put the question in comment area. I will be happy to respond, please. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Assalamu alaikum.